Hello, I'm Zash, and welcome to episode 32 of my G-Senjou no Maou, or The Devil on G-String, Let's Read. Joining me, as always, is my co-reader Faith. Well, last episode was a bit of a trip. We analyzed the letter Maou sent, and he has set a murderer out that will take out Cannon's mother. Also, apparently, Cannon has come to live with us, and she was serious about it. And she woke us up at oh god o'clock in the morning. Which is not very impressive to me. Can't wait until she moves out. Hopefully she is going to move out. Please tell me she's going to move out. Anyways, please enjoy this next episode. There was a beautiful feeling in the air, like a revolution was about to begin. The devil, Mephistopheles, was sitting at a bar in a secluded alley along Central Boulevard, waiting for Maou to call. The clock's hands pointed to 8 exactly. Mephistopheles put the battery into the cell phone. The time had been arranged by Maou. He had explicitly told Mephistopheles to get into the habit of taking batteries out of phones. It's much more difficult to be tracked if one does so. The devil at the bar had received Mao's letter 3 days earlier. Mephistopheles was a representative of the Great Japan Revolutionary School and had put the office address on the website, making it public without concern. The first words of the letters read, "I want you to kill a certain person." Even a date and time had been specified, along with a meticulously detailed plan for murder. At first he believed it to be nothing more than a prank or trap set by the communists. "Oh, we're going here now." But after reading further about Mao's advocacy, reprimanding corrupt politicians and the Fourth Estate, his interests were piqued. Even though the punctuation was carelessly atrocious, and the writer seemed uncultured, the letter's passion had touched Mephistopheles. And through last night's phone call, he had confirmed that they were indeed comrades. He called himself Azai, but had added, "Just call me Maou." Maou announced that he had killed a man. He'd pushed him down a staircase. He'd hidden himself in an obscure place, waited for him to come back home, and shoved the man when he wasn't looking. Even though the methods weren't complex, as long as there weren't any witnesses, it would be hard to place it as anything but an accident. Mephistopheles asked him why that man had been marked for death. He liked the answer. Because he was a homosexual. Mephistopheles shared that belief. Great Japan has no need for such weaklings. Upon asking, he discovered that the victim had been a clothing designer. Supposedly, he publicly announced that he was a homosexual and had received widespread media attention because of it. He was definitely a man that deserved to die. Mephistopheles saw Maou as a man with decisive feelings and the courage to act on them. He was happy to find another individual who worried for the future of the nation. The call came, but the receiver kept silent. "Is this Maou?" The man waited to speak until he could confirm Mephistopheles' voice. "Such care is to be respected. This is a good night." His voice sounds quite young, but nationalism has nothing to do with age. "So, you request our aid." "More people are always better than less. More people can do more to help the nation." You really plan on having that person killed?
Sacrifices are to be expected in a revolution.
The plan in the letter is perfect. Maou laughed to himself.
So even with a perfect plan, you people still won't trust me.
I won't suspect someone with the same ideals, but I would like to sit down and slowly talk things through. Anyway, why don't we meet for once?
I apologize, but I have to decline.
Why?
Because it's easier to fool the police if we don't know what the other person looks like.
He had a point. Just giving the impression that everything was done independently would be enough to send the police investigation in the wrong direction.
But I understand your feelings,
Maou said.
I'll kill another person for you. Then you'll all know I'm serious.
Who will it be?
A foreigner. I'll make sure that he understands that our country isn't a place for scum like him to live.
The spirit is worthy of respect. Those who died before us for the cause will be happy. He seems to be an intelligent man. His will also seems to be strong. There's even a hint of insanity in his cold words. The problem lies with Mao's background. In other words, if he had such a bold plan, why does he still need me? Mao spoke as if reading Mephistopheles' mind.
After this person is dead, I intend to stand up and criticize those corrupted Japanese. Only I'm alone. In the current political situation, those low in numbers will always be ignored. Truly, I want to find comrades that I can trust and a group with dignity. However, all those political parties are so weak. They talk, but they don't take action. In this age, simply talking will get nothing done.
His speech suddenly became firm, and his next words shook Mephistopheles' heart even further.
You're different.
Ellipses!
I knew for sure, after reading what you had written on your website. You are a hero. You're the only one I can rely on like this.
As if desiring to suppress his climaxing emotions, he took a gulp of water. A beautiful feeling is in the air, like a revolution was about to begin. You said that you were going to kill a person. When?
Tomorrow.
I wish to hear the details.
Yes, the night is still young.
Megalipses. Ellipses.
I'm home.
Late that night, Cannon returned to my apartment. So, you're really staying here. Did Ikuko-san and Mr. Hilton give you permission?
Mr. Hilton doesn't care about my private life. He can't speak much Japanese either, so things are pretty easy on me there.
Ikuko-san said it was okay?
She said okay. She said she'd pick me up tomorrow.
That's good to hear, but my body was a bit stiff from the cold, so I went to the kitchen to boil some water. Would you like some coffee? Yes, let's give her caffeine because she needs more energy, right?
Yeah, your coffee is delicious. But no sugar, please.
Thank God for small miracles. She's probably being mindful of what she eats.
You seem kind of dark, Nissan.
Well, maybe it's because someone woke me up at 5:30 of the goddamn morning. Why so rude all of a sudden?
Is something on your mind?
Yes, I am exhausted from being woken up at 5:30 in the goddamn morning. I was thinking that if you win, someone will die. I was thinking about how cute you are. I tried shrugging my shoulders. I thought she would make fun of me again, but Cannon's eyes just sparkled.
Really? That's the second time you said you loved me.
I didn't say I loved. Wait, the second time?
The other time was when we first met.
Oh yeah, I have a vague memory of it. At the time, I had just learned that Kennen was Gyonzo's daughter, and I wanted her to have a good impression of me. I don't really remember it. Maybe I said she was cute, or that I liked her, or something.
Nanchan loves people who love Nanchan.
I can't believe she took it so seriously. Of course, I don't hate her or anything, but... We do!
You may be dark sometimes, and a hopeless liar, but you still love Nanchan.
Yep.
If that wasn't the case, why would you make coffee for me? Why would you cook for me?
Because your father would kill me if I didn't.
I don't think I could throw you over the railing of my balcony without repercussion.
Ellipses. What a dumb thing to say.
Somehow I feel better now. I'll get a super high score tomorrow.
It's good that you feel well. Why don't you do a quad jump next time? Oh?
Didn't you watch TV today? When Nanchan had her interview, she said she's not going to do the quad jump anymore.
Really? That's too bad. Everyone was so looking forward to that. What do you always call it? A trump? Kennen shook her head like a puppy.
It's not something I should do. Even male skaters' hips and knees sting after that. When Nanchan tried it in Canada, she thought, this jump is bad news.
You mean the rest of the performance is really wobbly after that?
Yes.
I didn't quite like that. Won't your popularity suffer, Kennen-chan? That sounds like something Ichi would say.
Yeah, everyone loves new moves.
She bit her lip, talking as if it was a painful problem.
But you don't have to worry. It's fine as long as I bring home the gold.
Can you, though? According to Coach Ichi, your fundamentals aren't that great.
That was compared to my jumps.
Your jumps, huh?
I'll just make up for the lack of quads with perfect triples.
She's got a point. If her quad jump fails, then it'll lead to trouble. It's easier to guarantee a high score if she just does a good triple. Just promise not to fall, alright? When a skater jumps, even the audience gets nervous.
You don't know? Nanchan hasn't really ever fallen on a jump since she was in the juniors.
Wow.
Sometimes the axle gives me some trouble, but I've never fallen on the opening combination jumps, not even once.
I felt like she wasn't really taking things seriously. Okay, but what about that Seta Makiko girl? You're not the only Japanese skater in good condition this year.
Yep, she had an interview with me today. Seta sounds pretty cute, but too bad Nanchan's gonna win.
Too bad my ass. Aren't you being a touch overconfident? I asked her, dismayed. Just because you haven't fallen before doesn't mean you'll never fall.
Oopsies.
Kennen suddenly got quiet. I also closed my mouth. She was obviously unhappy, yet she forced a smile.
I won't fall.
What? I drew in a breath.
There's no way I'll lose.
The light shining from her eyes as she gazed at me was something that I'd never seen before.
I've been skating since I was 5. I learned ballet too. In the summer, everyone was playing, but I had to go to the special training camp. I even starred in a commercial. Do you understand what that means?
In the face of that frozen expression of hers, I didn't even dare to breathe. Behind those repressed words were absolute confidence.
During the interview, Seta-san treated me as a rival. It seemed like she wanted to beat me. As long as she thinks about that, she never will. You can't win if your mind is filled with any unnecessary thoughts. I never wanted a normal life. The fact that Papa is a scary person has nothing to do with me. There's a reason that Papa and Mom live separately. I don't want to know why. I don't have the time to get over a big shock. You too, Nissan. You've hidden a lot of things from me. Since it seems you don't want me to ask about them, I don't ask, and I don't care to. How can I get a higher score? That's the only thing I think about.
That emotionless speech. forced my posture to straighten. Those powerful, daunting eyes resemble another pair I've seen somewhere.
There are also some people worried about what had happened to me during last year's competition, but that's all irrelevant to me. Job of the people at the studio is to get the highest rating, and my job is to get the highest score. I will get the highest scores of the whole competition and amaze every last spectator. If they're all moved by my performance, fine. I'll even shake their hands and give them autographs. But what is most important of all is that moment of victory. It's absolutely intoxicating, and for that I'll practice thousands of times. Tens of thousands of times.
I'd forgotten.
Do you understand, Lisa?
This girl is Azai Gonzo's daughter.
Come tomorrow. I'll prove it to you.
Just as I wade casually through school, the arena is a place for Canon to show her true self. After finishing what she wanted to say, Canon reverted back to her bashful expression of a few moments earlier and went into the changing room. But I was rooted in place, unable to return to reality. Tomorrow, I have to go whether I want to or not. She has that iron will of Gonzo's.
Yeah. So surprising considering, it's the Olympics.
Yeah.
You need that for the Olympics. I mean,
That fearless smile. That gaze, oozing an excess of confidence. It was inside that crowded arena that I realized the true essence of Azai Canon. Number 46, Azai Canon, Japan. Enthusiastic applause exploded from the spectators' seats. In the middle of this thunder, Canon leaped onto the ice. Tracing a semicircle along the wall, which had been plastered with advertising banners, she stopped in the middle and threw the judges a flirtatious smile. The arena was covered in an almost suffocating silence. Her face was shining on the giant screen installed on the inner wall. Her expression was entirely foreign to the Canon I know. It held a challenge. Her tightly pursed lips, with the calculated application of makeup, stood out beautifully. A sense of power radiated from her. It was something that a person who knew the ordinary Canon wouldn't be able to imagine. She lowered her stance, putting that uncharacteristically long right arm at the top of her left leg, almost like she was grasping the hilt of a sword at her hip. The sensation that she's about to go to war isn't too far-fetched, given the situation. After the dance-like woodwind intro, Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries began playing. In the opera cycle, Der Ring der Nibelung, the Valkyries hold the task of guiding fallen warriors to Valhalla. Those young ladies, also sometimes called shield maidens, don their armor, flourish their swords, and ride the winged steeds towards the battlefield. As the horns and bassoons come in, Canon charged across the ice with the courage of a true Valkyrie. Damn, she's fast, I thought. It's on a completely different level of speed than the others. It gave the illusion that the rink had become smaller. Just when I thought that she was going from one end to the other, she took a casual curve and turned to skate backwards faster than my mind could follow. A violent sound, threatening to ground the ice into powder, exploded, like the hooves of a winged horse striking against the earth. Following that, Canon's limbs spun in the air. She jumped high, floating in the air, almost like she had grown feathers herself. Canon said that there was no way she'd fall, and sure enough, as if the gods had determined it before her jump began, she came down in a perfect landing. The blade, like the axis of a gyroscope, held Canon steadily as she elegantly spread her wing-like arms apart. After finishing her series of continuous jumps, Canon was bathed in applause. Even though I don't really know just what kind of jump it was, I'm pretty sure that it was difficult and worth a lot of points. Even I could tell that it was an extremely artistic jump. Several had attempted this jump before Canon, but each one had landed with too few rotations and spun around after the fact in order to appear to succeed. Kanon's jumps are simply longer than the others. And her having longer arms does help her get more angular momentum and pull off the jumps easier.
Yeah.
Her bullet-like speed enables such acts. But it seems from watching it on TV that the faster she goes, the harder it is to maintain the jump timing. Although if one just glides slowly into the jump, no one's going to applaud. Balancing the right height and distance together is likely next to impossible. The players who failed at their jumps could attest to that. The second jump was also completed with almost no effort, and Kanon's assault continued. She began a step sequence of showy choreography. The captivating performance she was giving with her upper body was enough to steal all your attention, but if you managed to tear your eyes away, you would see that her legwork was just as smooth. She did a delicate turn on one skate while maintaining her speed. Those elegant and excruciatingly correct steps bore the grace of a warrior princess performing a sword dance. The third jump. She launched herself while gliding forward. Shards of ice spewed forth like dragon's blood. I thought that she was just bragging, but after seeing her in action, I was more than reassured. Not a single fleeting thought of her failing entered my mind. After a wonderful landing, Kanon was enveloped in the abnormal passion of the arena. However, it was not the shrill sounds of cheerings from before. There were sighs of admiration, gasps of astonishment, sounds of praise, the lot of them, yet praise born out of awe bordering on fear. Absolutely bewitching. On the screen, Kanon's visage was visited by a ghostly aura. The girl in that image would kill any foe who dared to turn his blade against the gods. Hearing Ride of the Valkyries usually reminds people of the movie Apocalypse Now. The lieutenant colonel, with an eerie cheerfulness about him, assaults a Viet Cong village from the skies with the blaring Ride of the Valkyries as his partner. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. It smells like victory. The composer, Richard Wagner, was a rather similar case. There's no doubt he left a big impact on musical history, but his infamy will live on forever. He had a self-oriented, indulgent personality, and believed that it's only natural for everyone to invest in a genius such as himself. There was a period of time that he was very intimate with Nietzsche, and their ideology would hurl them both into the modern world through the Nazi Party. He was a genius and a tyrant. Amidst the mysterious spectacle of the enchanted arena, the tyrant of the ice decorated the finale of this musical masterpiece. Ending with a tornadic rotation, Kanon put on her ending pose. When the music ended and the crowds remembered to breathe, a thunderous applause exploded throughout the stadium. The entire arena burst into a standing ovation. Before I realized what was going on, I was also standing and clapping. In 2 minutes and 40 seconds, she generated enough force to grab everyone's hearts. Her scores, clearly, were also on a separate level from the others. Obliterating those before her, Kanon achieved the top rank in a single breath. The spectators were boiling over with delight. They had probably been touched by a beautiful rebirth after the disaster last year. They don't know the real Kanon. She was in the so-called kiss and cry, the place where the skaters await their results. Her face was on the screen. Kanon beat her personal best, but she did not jump for joy or hug Coach Hilton, who was sitting beside her. She just wore a calm, stoic smile. A reporter pointed a microphone at her. Kanon said only one thing.
There's still tomorrow.
No more than a whisper. It was almost like she was using all her energy to contain her powerful joy. Almost like she was conceitedly saying, "Of course I won." Well, well, well. If it isn't Ichi-san. Well, well, well. If it isn't Kyosuke-chan! I met up with Aichi and Tsubaki outside. The outside air cooled my skin, and it felt excellent. And Tsubaki is still in a miniskirt. What was up with you telling Kanon her steps were bad or whatever? I thought she was pretty awesome. You still think that after seeing the real thing? She's completely different from how she was last year. Maybe getting preached at by adorable yours truly helped her turn her act around.
I was really touched. It gave me goosebumps.
I found the musical selection to be particularly excellent.
I thought so too. I thought it was scary at first, and that it didn't fit the smiley Kanon-chan at all,
But I found myself glued to my seat. After a while, I thought, fuck it, it had to be that song. Ichi seemed to be overly excited, as if he were beginning to talk like his real self, even in front of Tsubaki. I knew that Hilton guy was no fucking joke. See how much of a difference a change of coach can make? There's really that big of a difference? It's a complete turnaround. Up until now, Kanon's been portrayed as the cute type. I had no idea. I feel kind of sorry for Kanesaki Ikuko, but a demonic image really suits Kanon better. Well, she is her father's daughter.
it was a little scary, but Kanon-chan looked real pretty like that.
If you look at her physique closely, she's tall with long limbs. She looks like a foreigner. I think I read in a magazine once that she took up ballet or something when she was little and had to closely control her diet. If things keep going like this, she could easily win tomorrow's bout too. But suddenly Aichi frowned. About that. What? Tomorrow's the free skate, and her program has a bad rap. Well, it's not the program itself, but the music, I guess. Oh? Really? Since today was Ride of the Valkyries, would tomorrow be an excerpt from Eroica Symphony or something like that? Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? I have no idea what's running through their stupid little heads, but it's something that will be a complete 180 from today's selection. Look, just tell me already. Well, seeing as you're a fanatic, you should know it. After Aichi eventually told me the title of the piece, even I was confused. Isn't that a bad idea? I know, right? It's like a completely different image from today.
But didn't Kanon-chan use that song to win in Canada? Won't it be okay?
I agreed with Tsubaki's opinion. Kanon's technique is incredible. Why would the choice of song affect her score in any way? Weak, man. Figure skating's an art. Part of your score reflects how at one you are with the music. She got pretty low scores in that area in Canada. Then why doesn't she just change the song? That's what everyone's asking. There's a rumor that she's keeping it for her former coach, since she's her mother. I'm betting it's air on the G string because Kyosuke likes it.
Azaka, did you hear anything about that?
I missed you, honey.
Yeah, you got word of anything? Not at all. And you call yourself family? Ichi was thoroughly disgusted.
Well then, see you tomorrow.
No, come back! Kyosuke, make sure you come too! Yeah, maybe I'm being a bit cold, but Kanon can achieve her goal whether I'm there or not. Today's performance verified that fact. The audience cheers doesn't mean all that much to Kanon. Just as Azai Gonzo relies only on himself, Azai Kanon has a firm belief in her skills. Megalipses. Ellipses. There was indeed another death. It was 10 o'clock that night. Mephistopheles had reached the dock in the Western District. The flashlight he had borrowed shone on the blackened blood. It formed a thin line on the old gray asphalt, and droplets continued on towards the dark waters. A single stab to the lung, and then thrown into the sea. He remembered Mao's cold voice. The winter torrents around this area are quite powerful, so the corpse should have drifted far away by now. There can be no murder investigation if there's no body. His name would merely be recorded on the missing persons list, 90,000 annually and counting. Maou emphasized that part of his murder plan. Just like Maou had promised he would, Mephistopheles found a driver's license at the edge of the boardwalk. He picked up the bloody card to check the name. He was satisfied. This Westerner had been employed as a ballet dancer. Japan has its own proper traditional dances. In order to correct the American cultural invasion after last century's great defeat, people like him must be eradicated from this nation. Maou is a person I can rely on. His battle spirit was already boiling. It just wouldn't do to fall short of Mao's expectations. Suddenly, a voice spoke up behind him. Mephistopheles immediately hid the bloody license inside his jacket.
Excuse me.
He slowly turned his head around and beheld the ghost before him. It met the flashlight's glare. Mephistopheles stepped back in surprise.
Don't, you'll fall.
The sea was behind him. The ghost extended its hand and stepped forward. When he looked closely, he realized that it was simply a girl with extremely long hair. She seemed to be enrolled as a student somewhere, and she wore a school uniform with a ribbon in the front. What's a girl doing here at this time of night? How deplorable. Girls are getting worse by the year. Why don't they realize that the improper things they are doing, such as wandering in the night, are precisely what's making the crime rate go up? She'd be partially to blame if she was attacked. No, dude. She is not. What the hell are you doing?
I come out here sometimes, especially when I'm thinking about important things. There's a real pretty spot right past here.
She spoke in mumbles, completely indirect.
I said goodbye to someone I love near here. This town changed a lot, but not this place, so I like to reminisce here.
Tell me your name!
Fujiwara Norika.
The girl looked at him dimly through her bangs. Fujiwara, do you know what time it is right now?
Ellipses.
Hey.
Huh? Around 11 or something?
Shouldn't children be safe at home and asleep by now?
Appearances aside, I am over 18.
She said in a joking manner.
Though you shouldn't be worrying about that. You're hurt, aren't you?
Hurt?
Beside your feet, there's a bit.
She must be talking about the blood. I don't know where it came from. I noticed it when I was jogging, and I came to investigate.
Oh, so that's it.
She sighed, as if exhausted. I'm going home. You should too. Don't stay up so late.
Sure. Thanks for the concern.
It didn't fit her creepy exterior, but she bowed deeply. Mephistopheles passed by the girl and walked away.
Can I bother you for just a bit?
Being called, he stopped.
Did you meet with Michael Jormund, Alfond?
Mephistopheles opened his eyes wide. He knew that name well. That man now laid at the bottom of the sea. Who?
I just told you. Jormund-san. The ballet teacher. They say he even taught us Aikana.
I know no such person. The girl, disappointed, drooped her shoulders. He suddenly felt a wave of uneasiness wash over him. Why are you asking me something like that?
It's just, you said you're jogging, right? So that means you live near here.
So, the foreigner lived here too. His sense of suspicion grew even stronger. Why would a girl that he'd never seen before talk to him about a dead man?
I'm a fan of his. If you meet him, could you please ask for an autograph?
Sure, why not? Tell me your address.
Really? Great! Yay!
The girl, without a shred of wariness nor worry, told me her cell phone number. Just a coincidence? Mephistopheles said goodbye to the girl with the innocent smile. In any case, he has a way to contact her. He can get rid of her quickly if anything happens. At the bar, as always, Mephistopheles called Maou immediately. I've already checked the scene. It was wonderful.
Do you trust me now?
Of course. He gave a firm answer. He was now well aware of the seriousness backing the young man on the other end of the line. It was time to initiate the revolution. Tomorrow, then.
Just follow the plan. I'll be counting on you when 9 o'clock comes.
I understand. The plan of a man who has already killed 2 people must be perfect.
Say it a little louder for those in the back.
A drink was set before him. He worked hard to suppress the urge to shout out for Maou to clink glasses. After hearing about her, the woman they had discussed seemed unforgivable to him. She was supposed to be a figure skating coach. In the past, she had been a great player who had even participated in the Olympics, but after retiring, she began to live a depraved life. Her name was Kanesaki Ikuko. She published a book criticizing the very skating association that brought her fame, and there was even rumors about her having an illicit relationship with a member of the Yakuza. At her prime, she had a lean and beautiful figure, but she's put on weight since then. Dude, she's
People
what, 40?
do in
That
their middle
happens?
age?
Yeah.
People do anyway?
She doesn't care about her income, instead choosing to live a disgusting life by leeching off her daughter's prize money. She's the worst kind of parent.
No, there are worse kinds of parents.
Like Kyosuke's adopted father?
Yeah, that's definitely one of them.
If even one such mother disappeared from the earth, the future of education would be ever brighter. That does not make sense.
You know it doesn't. There are other types of parents I'd be more worried about.
Yeah, like I saw an ad for one of those daytime talk shows. Apparently a guy had 31 children.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That seems like a bad dad.
You could start with the people who kill their kids, or
That too.
beat their kids, or manipulate their kids. I mean,
Yeah.
using your daughter's plentiful amount of money doesn't seem so bad compared to that.
Especially since you're a coach.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean,
The getting up at 5 a.m. to get your kid to skating practice is a lot of work.
like, maybe it's a bit. I mean, unless it's decided upon by the people, I mean, it's a little asshole-ish, but it could definitely be worse, my friend.
Yes. And like I could see Canon giving Ikoko the money just for thanks for being her coach.
I'm pretty
Like-
certain that Canon gives no craps
Yeah.
about her money.
That too.
Now, like I said, it's agreed upon. It's fine.
She gets to perform, that's all she cares about.
Yeah,
Literally, that is all that she cares about.
so creepy.
And maybe banging Kyosuke, but that's beside the point.
Is there anything you want to ask me?
Unexpectedly, Maou posed this question. Mephistopheles took a moment to consider. He remembered the face of the girl that he just met. It's better that I kill everyone who sees my face, isn't it?
Good question.
He sighed, as if impressed.
That depends on the situation.
What do you mean?
A witness is a very troublesome thing. If someone remembers any distinguishing features about you, the police can use the latest equipment to make a realistic portrait.
So, unless I'm careful, my face will be tacked to police department notice boards and subway station walls?
However,
He stopped for a second.
in most cases, the witness remembers their emotions more than the scene. The man holding the knife was scary. The sound of the policeman's gun was deafening. Those things they remember, but things like who was screaming beside them will simply be lost in the pandemonium.
Ah, so you're saying to synchronize with the surroundings?
Of course, if you're morbidly obese, or if you have a mole the size of a grape, then it's a completely different matter.
Don't worry, I like my drinks, but I'm still far away from getting a beer belly. Mephistopheles was an ordinary, tired-looking man, perhaps a bit on the tall side.
Even so, if your eyes meet theirs, they should be killed.
Eyes.
Eyes are probably the most efficient method of transmitting emotions. If they saw something in your eyes, then there's a chance they'll never forget it.
So try to keep your face as hidden as possible. Then it seems that I can't avoid killing another person. Mephistopheles opened his mouth, only after taking a large swig. Actually, I met a strange young woman down at the harbor. I thought she was a ghost, but she turned out to be just a student. She had hair all the way down to her knees. She talked about the man that you killed. Amazingly, Maou didn't say a thing. Unable to stand the silence, Mephistopheles continued. She called herself Fujiwara. Seemed to be a fan of the dead guy. I got her phone number just in case.
Ellipses.
What? Did you think of something? There was no response. Perhaps he had mentioned something that angered Maou, or perhaps he had an idea as to who that girl was.
She.
After a long silence, Maou spoke quietly, almost to himself.
She must be killed.
Mephistopheles sensed murderous intent from those words, though only for an instant.
That girl is our greatest enemy.